Hey, welcome to Biking Preparedness. I'm Pastor Joe Fox. Whew! I just got done with a run I ran for about 45 minutes. I say run. It's more of the airborne shuffle, you know. It's like a jog. But while I was running, I was thinking about this video. And I've got to take a shower and get going on some other things, so this is really the only time to shoot it. So hi. This video is aimed mostly at Christians. And so, and not only that, but a particular kind of Christian. I've gotten a bunch of comments in the last week from people purporting to be, and probably are, Christians who say a variety of demeaning things to me. You call yourself a pastor, blah, and then they, go on their own version of what they think is true. Or they use the argument, if you could call it that, the excuse that they don't need to prepare and they don't need to worry about nuclear war, or they don't need to worry about storing up food for some huge, economic downturn or something, because Jesus is going to come and rapture me away from this terrible thing that you keep bringing up, you negative pastor. And so I'm addressing those of you who think that you don't need to take any steps to take care of you or yourself because Jesus is going to rapture you away. That's utter crap. Your whole belief is crap. And the only reason I'm doing this video is because I actually care about you. And I don't want you to figure it out too late. And there's a whole lot of ways to go on this video. So I guess I'll just start picking them out. It's not like I have notes. Number one, can we agree, you and I, that believing in rapture, or not, is not what one's salvation is dependent upon? Right? It doesn't say anywhere in the Word that you have to believe in rapture in order to be saved. It says, believe on me. Believe that God raised him from the dead. Right? I just did a whole sermon on that. Go to Shofar Mountain, the YouTube site. Just did a sermon on it last week. And you can read a little bit about that, because that's not what most Christians think it means either. As an aside, you don't have to believe in rapture to have salvation, which means for those of you who believe in rapture, it doesn't matter that I know, well, I'll use your term, I don't believe that there's a rapture. If there is, I'm getting raptured anyway, right? It doesn't say you have to believe in rapture to get raptured. It says you have to believe in Jesus, right? And so, if you're right and I'm wrong, I'm out of here. Woo, rapture, baby. But if I'm right and you're wrong, where does that leave you? That's number one. Number two, Americans are arrogant. I've said this in other videos. You think that anything horrible that happens to the United States, I submit to you, nuclear war and its aftermath in the United States would be horrible. Or a bad economic collapse where, the cities start eating themselves, and cannibalism and disease, that would be horrible. Or, anything. Solar flare, whatever. Y'all believe that that could never happen to you without you getting raptured, because if that happened, that would mean that since the United States was getting hammered, obviously tribulation has begun, and I'm out of here because I believe in rapture for the tribulation. That's arrogant. You think that's a God's American-centric view of God's will or something. Just because something bad happens to America doesn't mean that's the tribulation. America could be totally wiped off the map. Just pew! And then the tribulation starts. I submit to you that America is going to get hammered, and that's going to set the conditions for the Antichrist to set up his one world government. How's that work for you? And so therefore, the rapture hasn't happened yet. You don't believe in like a multi-stage rapture, do you? So that's one. Consider this. Consider the Christians in South Sudan. They didn't get raptured. They're not getting raptured today. And they are living through hell on earth. So how come they don't get raptured, but you think nothing bad will happen to you, but you'll get raptured? Right? So you better get ready. Now let's go to the Bible, shall we? Because a lot of you are using this rapture dream excuse that it keeps you from preparing. You tell yourself, well, I don't have to prepare because I'm getting raptured. Or even if you don't believe in rapture, there's a lot of Christians out there who go, well, I just put my trust in Jesus. He loves me and he'll take care of me. So do you have homeowners insurance? Do you have car insurance? Do you own a fire extinguisher? Why do you own a fire extinguisher? Don't you think Jesus is going to keep your house from burning down? Why do you have a first aid kit? You don't need a first aid kit. Jesus is going to take care of you. I mean, if that's your thought process, see, you're just moving your thought process out down the line of he's going to take care of me so I don't have to worry about this. Take no care for what you'll eat or wear or whatever. Okay, so did you quit your job yet? Why not? Well, one reason why not is because after the fall of Adam, what's God? Yah. What's he tell him? By the sweat of your brow, this right here, shall you eat your bread, right? Which means he's going to have to now toil. He's going to, in Adam's case, work the soil, right? So you have to work for your food. So if you have to work for your food in the here and now, do you not think you have to work for your food in the future? You just think that, you know, oh, it's okay, I'll just work for my food now, but when something really bad happens, I'll just not worry about it because God's going to protect me. Jesus is going to feed me. Loaves and fishes, right? What about Proverbs 6? Go to the ant, thou sluggard. Consider her ways and be wise. And then it goes on to say she works in the summer and she stores up all her food so that when the hard times come in winter, she's got food. The ant in Proverbs 6:6 is a prepper, putting away food in times of plenty so that the ant has it in times of want. Saving yourself. God's going to save me. Jesus is going to save me. Who saved Noah? Remember Noah and the ark? Big flood came, killed all the living things on earth. Who built the ark? Who built the ark? God could have said, Noah, there's a big tree coming. Get on the tree. Get on the tree and you'll be saved. I'm going to have a bunch of critters climb on there with you. He said, Noah, build an ark. Noah's like, an ark? So then God tells him how to build it, what to build it. But Noah built the ark. Noah did the work ahead of time when there was no need for an ark. Noah's building an ark. And then what happens? Noah lives. Starts sounding like prepping, doesn't it? Starts sounding like working on a bug out location. That's his BOV, man. That was his BOV, his bug out vehicle. He built it. He provisioned it. Did God give him guidance and direction? Yeah. You know, God's giving direction and guidance today to those who have ears to hear and eyes to see. Consider Joseph. Remember Joseph? 12 tribes. Gets sold into slavery by his brothers. He ends up in Egypt. He's in charge of, he's like the secretary of the treasury for Egypt. And Pharaoh has this dream, right? And Pharaoh's dream is of, 7 fat critters, kine, it says in King James, cows, deer, whatever, and 7 lean ones, and nobody can interpret it. And then Joseph comes and interprets his dream. And he goes, yeah, the 7 fat ones are times of plenty, and the 7 lean ones are times of lean, and that's what's coming. Lean times are coming. You think lean times are coming to America? You do, because you said Jesus is going to save you from it. So how did Jesus save the people from that? Joseph, in the time of plenty, 7 years of plenty, stored up lots of wheat, lots and lots of wheat, so that when the lean times came, they did really well. You can read about that. Ended up buying people into slavery with it. People sold themselves for some wheat. But they stored wheat. God didn't say, don't worry about it, Joseph. I'll just give you wheat when the time comes. Better get to work now. Fat times. Put up the wheat. What else can we talk about? Let's go to New Testament. Because I know a lot of you Christians aren't that familiar with the Old Testament. Let's go to New Testament. The 10 virgins. 5 wise and 5 foolish. Right? What are these virgins doing? They are waiting on the bridegroom. The groom, right? Who's the groom? The groom's Jesus when he comes back, right? You guys know that, right? And then who are these virgins that are waiting on them? They are the brides, ooh, there's a whole lesson there, of Christ, waiting on him to return. Who's the bride of Christ? Who's the bride of Christ? Come on, you know this, right? Okay, so they're all waiting on the groom. If they're all waiting on the groom, who are they? Who are they worshiping? Who are they looking towards? Who are they pointing and praying towards? Right? But 5 of them are wise, and 5 of them are foolish. And the 5 foolish ones figure out too late, at the last minute, oh crap, we don't have any oil in our lamps. And so they look at the 5 wise ones, and they said, hey, y'all have a lot of oil. Give us some of your oil so that our lamps are lit when the groom comes. And so the 5 wise virgins that had the oil, they did the good Christian thing, right? And they said, okay, well, I have extra, so I'll share with you. Is that what they said? That's not what they said. They said, get away. Pfft, go. We're not giving you any in case we run out. You go to those who buy and sell to get your oil. And so they go run to get their oil. They miss the coming of the bridegroom. I've talked about this before in other videos. There's just a lot of new viewers right now. So these potential brides of Christ who were waiting on the bridegroom, they're waiting on the bridegroom, but they're not prepared. They don't make it. There's a lot of you that aren't going to make it. There's a lot of you who are putting all your hope in this false doctrine of rapture, pre-tribulation rapture, that are going to wake up too late, like the 5 foolish virgins, and you're going to go the Homer Simpson, don't! It's going to be too late. Now, there's a lot of you also out there who are saying, I don't care, I know where I'm going. And then this is where a bunch of you jump to me, are you a pastor and you're telling people to commit suicide? No, I'm pointing out the ridiculousness of your view. If you have the view that, I don't care if I die, I'm going to Jesus anyway, therefore I'm just going to keep eating my Doritos and watching TV on my big fat butt instead of getting prepared for what's coming, that's really what you're doing. You're making excuses that you don't have to prepare for bad times because you just want to sit on your hiney and do nothing. Because you don't care, so the argument goes, you don't care, and so you just are just going to let Jesus take care of you. When you die, you know where you're going and you don't care. So there's no reason to prepare. Well, if you don't care if you die, if you're actually looking forward to it, there's my argument. Why don't you walk out into busy traffic? Am I telling you to commit suicide, you idiot? No. I'm pointing out how stupid that thought process is. If you don't care if you die, why don't you just go do the High Wire Act? Because you do care if you die or not. You do care. And the thing is, you're lying to yourself now, telling yourself you don't care later if you die or not, because later's going to come, and when it comes, you're going to do the Homer Simpson don't, and realize that you care deeply, and that you do want to live. And you're going to be scratching on the inside of your coffin, metaphorically, and you're going to be like the 5 foolish virgins who didn't take time ahead of time to prepare. And you're going to perish. Now, you may end up in heaven anyway. You may. I'm not the judge. But you're going to care. You're going to care deeply. And I'm trying to save you that pain. Take some steps now. Preparedness is a biblical concept. There ain't no rapture coming to save you. Hey, and if there is, then cool. You'll leave a lot of other people's supplies. Hey, things to think about. I love you. I do. I actually care about you. And I'll see you out there somewhere.